We're live
On the internet with Scott Morris talks from Crits Happens.
And everywhere else.
Yeah, and a whole lot of other places, which we will be talking about in this podcast. We do have Q&A enabled for viewers that are interested in asking questions or making comments about either our gameplay or just, maybe our lifestyle choices. I'm not sure which. Today we're going to be playing Takenoko on BoardGameArena.com, and as Rhiannon's screen shows, it is currently my turn.
Because they're already cheating.
Yeah. Because we're a little late, we're just going to jump right into this, and hopefully everybody will jump in as well. So,
how do we play? No, I'm just kidding.
how do we play? Well, yeah. So, whenever Rhiannon talks, you will see the board show up on the screen, so that's why there's a board on the screen occasionally. It's
like
Rhiannon's talking. There we go. But that is not showing any player's screen, it's just showing a general thing. So for Takenoko, if you've never played, it is a worker placement game with some tile placement and some secret objectives. The story is kind of weird. The Emperor of Japan has been gifted a panda from China, and not knowing what else to do with it, he just sticks it in his gardens and says, "Gardener, good luck." And so in this game, you have a panda and you have a gardener, and then you are growing bamboo to appease said panda, and you are growing that bamboo with said gardener. To grow bamboo on tiles, you have to first place the tiles. The tiles are 3 colors: green, pink, yellow. The bamboo that grows on those will, of course, match the tile that they're growing on. For bamboo to grow, it has to get water, so it has to either be connected to the center tile on a side, or it has to have an irrigation channel running to it, which we'll show and talk about, and you'll see in the game. Aside from growing bamboo, you have to, of course, get the gardener to go to the tile to make the bamboo grow, and then later you can make the panda go to the same tile and eat the bamboo that the gardener has worked so hard to grow. The secret objectives in the game, everybody has different stuff, and the objectives will change as we draw. But there's objectives where you need to make certain patterns in the garden with certain colors, or there's objectives where you need to make the bamboo eat certain, or the bamboo eat. You have to make the panda eat certain colors of bamboo, or you have to make the gardener grow certain sizes of certain colors of bamboo stalks. So that's basically a very quick and probably slightly inaccurate rundown of Takenoko, and let's play.
How do I become a cleric again?
You roll a d8 and then add your wisdom modifier, something. Okay. So on your every turn, what happens before is there's a weather dice, and the weather just does some minor changes and stuff, and then every person gets 2 actions to play, where you can either move the panda, move the gardener, place a tile, place an irrigation channel, or you can draw new objective cards. So for my first move, and the first move of the game, I'm going to put some new garden plots down.
It should be good enough that you don't get weather on the first turn.
Yeah. Oh. So I'm going to do the green plot, and then I'm going to
Oh yeah, it's on. That's it. I'm done. I've won this game.
I'm gonna make the panda eat the little green bamboo that just grew.
He's gonna shove his face in the bamboo.
I like to make the panda fat. Yes.
Hey, he is kind of chunky and chubby, so.
That's a sign of a happy panda.
Yes, that's a good point. All right, so now I'm up, and I am going to do the plot of land, which is super cool. And then drag a green one down there. And then I, too, am going to shove the panda's face into the green bamboo. Because it's what all the kids are doing nowadays.
Are you calling me a child? I don't...
He can't eat the bamboo, though, because it's on a tile that it has the improvement where the bamboo cannot be eaten. So I have just shifted the little dude over.
Oh.
That's a bad move, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't
We'll
understand.
see.
Good point on that one. Yeah, that's a good point. So there are certain improvements that can be put on tiles that either make it so the panda can't eat the bamboo, or the bamboo would be watered, like there's a fountain or something on that tile, or there is fertilizer where the bamboo will grow twice as quickly on that tile.
Oh no, that was stupid. Oh well.
I want my bamboo. I want my bamboo.
So now that we've all done a round and we've done a very quick introduction, let's do the game. Let's do a quick introduction to you, Talks. So would you mind just doing a quick spiel?
Sure. So I like long walks on the beach, jazz music. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Scott Morris. Most people know me as Talks. I run a review site called cryptappin.com. It's been going for several years now. It's been fairly successful. They haven't booted me off the internet yet, so I think that's good. Most recently in March, I took over as Vice President of Business Development for Arcane Wonders, who right now is the maker of Mage Wars, and soon to be some new awesome games as well in the line outside of Mage Wars. So, and I do like jazz music. So.
Woo! And you,
Uh-oh, get up.
at least it's not Ichi this time. Usually,
I just lost Tiffany for like a good 30 seconds.
We got Robot Tiffany, and then we got Dog Bark.
Yeah, that's unfortunately my dog. Sorry about that.
Shame. It's alright. It's still her turn, so...
I fully blame her. It's okay. I'm just here with my panda.
Your hungry panda who you won't feed.
See, even the big guy's kind of got a chubby butt.
Wow.
I've been invited to another game.
Good. All right.
You could go play that one if you wanted. I mean, we would understand, I guess. As long as you concede and it ups our stats, I suppose. Then you can go ahead and hop over there. Are you politely telling them no, you can't go? Just leave you alone?
No, I'm politely telling the internet that Talks has currently, well, he has designed a new dice game around a specific theme that I feel the internet would be very interested to know about. So.
Yeah, so that's actually, I guess, kind of brand new. It feels ages old in my head, but I'm the designer of the Firefly dice game, which is coming out from Upper Deck later this year. We should hopefully have a demo to share at Gen Con, and then probably be available after that at some point. But yeah, Firefly, I guess, is kind of popular. Some people have heard of it. So
it's okay, I guess, really.
It's not bad. It doesn't suck.
Yeah, no, so the Firefly dice games kind of seem to be a thing now. How does, I mean, can you tell us, how does your dice game compare to some of the other big dice games that are, like, out there right now?
Yeah, you take a really wound-up dog and you throw it against the wall.
Whoa, that went a direction I was not
game?
expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's brand new. Hang on, let me walk away for 1 second and get them out of here.
All right. So, Rhiannon, do you think if we let him win, he'll send us copies of the Firefly dice game early? Oh, you're back!
What? Oh. Yes.
I don't really have too much control over that. No, so the game actually started out as a game that was made for my family and I. As most people who know me, I'm not really a game designer. I have like 100 ideas about games, and none of them like ever get to the fruition. But this one was something that came from my son and I. We played like all the pressure luck dice games. We played Zombie Dice, we played Dino Hunt Dice, we played Martian Dice. Anything that was a pressure luck dice game, we'd play it. And what we realized was you were really not stretched or pressured on turn one. You were going to make it past turn one. You're going to make it past turn two. It's just a matter of like how, are you going to stop at turn three or are you going to stop at turn five or somewhere in between? Okay, I have to choose here, so you're not going to talk to me and distract me here. Hang on one second. I don't even know what I was doing here. Okay, this is what I was doing.
That's how we win against people is we ask them questions while we play games with them.
I fully get it.
Maybe just let the secret out.
Tiffany.
Yeah, I would. It's all right. And then I'm going to take one of those and put an irrigation right there. All right. And then, what I'll do is third action. I think as a third action, I will move Gardner there. Take that. And it's all you. So my son said to me one day, he goes, you're not going to get shotgun on turn 1, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to lose it all on turn 1. And so we started making a game, and it was just dice, was all it was. And we started the idea of having different colored dice that fought against each other. So you had good dice and bad dice, and you had things pulling things away from you to make decisions on turn 1. And what we started realizing is if you took the good guy dice and gave them abilities, and took the bad guy dice and had them have reactions to the abilities, you could really have something that was very hard on turn 1, but not impossible to where you're never going to get past turn 2 or turn 3. So we made this game of orcs versus elves, or orcs versus goblins. And essentially what happens is you have a set number of good dice and a set number of bad dice. Every turn you're going to be losing more of your good dice, but you're always going to have the same number of bad dice. So the trick is every turn you press on, you're going to have less dice to do things with, but you're going to have the same amount, if not stronger enemies based on the quantities that you roll. And we initially, actually, when Upper Deck approached us, when I sat down and kind of walked through with them, I told them it would kind of be cool as a Marvel game. So they had Legendary, which is a great game, and I love it. And I thought it would be really cool to make Legendary the dice game. So I went through and themed it all Marvel for them to take a look at, and they loved it. And next thing you know, we're talking, and there's paperwork flying around, and all that stuff was happening. And I'd probably say at this point, that was before I had ever even talked to Arcane Wonders about ever going to work for them. That's been the number one question people ask is, wait a minute, how come you're not making this game with Arcane Wonders if you're the vice president, dude? Shouldn't you just be making it with them? So this all happened before that. This is all middle of last year.
Oh, wow.
And then after we went through and did all the paperwork, and I sold them the game and did all that fun stuff, they came back and said, hey, we got this awesome license, and we can't tell anybody about it. And I was like, what is it? We can't tell you. What do you mean you can't tell me? So it was one of those things where I couldn't know about it for a while, and then once I knew about it, I couldn't tell anybody else for a while, and then it was just... I've known for several months that it was going to be Firefly, so it's been the hardest thing inside of me when my wife and I sit down to watch Serenity or something, and it's it's kind of crazy. So, but yeah, the game is basically going to put you in a position of using the Firefly people from the universe. You're going to have bad guys that are familiar to you. Badger's going to be in there, you're going to have Saffron in there and stuff like that. And you're going to have to use your crew to defeat the bad guys, but at the same time, you're going to have optional missions. So you're going to have mission cards you can roll out and try to complete the missions to gain bonuses aside from just beating the bad guys. So it's more than just dice. There's going to be cards with it, and it's going to be really, really interactive and engaging. So it's going to be really fun. And it's going to be Firefly, which doesn't suck.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting. Especially the fact that it's a pressure luck game where the first turn does matter, because that's one of the things that a lot of the pressure luck dice games out there. Yeah, you're right. Just kind of first turns whatever. So then it was Marvel, and so now it's Firefly. Do you think that the release / whatever of Marvel Dice Masters had anything to do with the license change, or was it just a theme change, or was it just we just happened to get this license, it's way better, so we should do that instead? You're
funny. You think Marvel Dice Masters has actually been released? That's funny. No, I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think they, WizKids had Marvel Dice Masters for a while, and that's going to be a whole universe, as I understand it. They're going to have Marvel, they're going to have DC, they're going to have Yu-Gi-Oh, all these different IPs put to it and everything. We were talking, way after they had done that about the Marvel stuff. So I don't think it really had anything to do with it. I think what it had to do with, not to be egotistical, but I think it was just everybody really liked the game. So they got the license for Firefly. They knew they wanted to do some really good things. I think it also helped that Jason Brenner knew that I was an absolute Firefly geek. So I could, like, you know, if he looked at me and said, "Hey, give me like 500 cards that have to do all with this, and we'll trim it down," then I could probably give him 500 cards from episode 1. So it's I think it was just kind of the perfect storm of everything coming together. So
that's awesome.
It is. I'm like honestly, inside I'm still trying to like wake up and figure out what dream I'm in, because it's like I'm not a game designer, although I like designing games. I don't consider myself a game designer, you know. And for me to have my first design picked up by a company as big as Upper Deck, and then to have it put to, quite frankly, one of the biggest geek licenses in nerd culture is even bigger. And it's just it's part ridiculously awesome and part unbelievably scary as hell, because I want to make sure I do it right and get it good. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Lucky for you, Firefly fans are pretty, like, you know, the word I'm looking for here, I think, is hardcore. I love the series. I love the movie. I actually have a question about bad guys and if there's going to be blue hands in the game at all.
So I'm sorry, you broke up and I didn't hear that. What did you say?
A question about blue hands. Are there going to be blue-handed bad guys?
Yeah. So they're in the design. Whether or not they make it into the initial base set is another question. So they are in the mix. Ironically, that's not the first person that everyone usually asks about, but that's a good question.
Episode was the scariest for me.
It's pretty scary.
2 hands of blue.
It was pretty scary. Yeah, it was good. So, but yeah, it's they're in there. I don't know what's going to make the cut yet for the base set. We're still talking about that and going through a couple of things on it. So we'll see.
Okay. And you said demo Gen Con.
That's gonna be our goal. Yeah. Okay. We're shooting for that. I mean, obviously, I have like zero control for that, so we'll have to see how that works. So.
Yeah.
So you said base set. Expand, please. Explain.
We in my mind, it's got several expansions. On my paper, it's got several expansions. We still have not worked out what we want the expansions to be yet, but I can tell you that when the base game comes out, there will probably be something not in it that people will immediately go, "How is this not in here?"
Like dice?
Yeah, no dice. It's the dice game with nothing but cards. There's going to be a character that is not going to be in the game that people are going to be like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And it'll be their what moment, and then they'll go, "Ooh, there's more coming." So we'll see.
Interesting. Now I'm going to play the game of who is not in the game that should be in the game.
It's actually, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I can't say everything yet, but we'll see.
So you mentioned you struck on that, how like you don't consider yourself a game designer, but I mean you've been reviewing and previewing and commenting on games for years now. Do you feel that it was just a natural progression that one day you would design a game? Or
well, yeah, I mean, I probably have like 30 or 35 done designs that I've just never really done anything with, mostly because I've been busy with life. But there were ones that, I mean, like I've always been this guy who when I play games, I immediately play a game, I like it, then I start to pick it apart and, okay, what could I do differently? What could be done better? What would I have done if I was designing it to make it more towards what I would want? So I just always have like come up with all these like different derivatives and designs and ideas and stuff like that. And honestly, like I said, this one I wasn't even looking to like produce this one. It was something that I had with my friends. We were playing the game with friends. next thing you know, discussion with Jason from Upper Deck, and it starts spawning off from there. There were a couple other companies that looked at it, a couple of conversations back and forth, and thankfully, as you guys know, most everything in this industry is community, and it's wicked amazing how good the community is. So I talked to several other people I knew who were designers that just from reviewing the games and saying, hey, what do you think? This is going to be a new realm for me, new area for me. And they were all really helpful and had some great ideas. I definitely probably need to give a shout out to Corey Young. He is the designer of one of my favorite games, Gravwell, and I had just amazingly awesome talks, and he helped me with a couple ideas and concepts and stuff, and it was great. It was really good. So now we're here. Now I'm making a Firefly game.
That's pretty awesome. It's your turn, so I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna ask you anything.
It's my turn. I'm still seeing the weird interface.
It's weird. Yeah. So we did enable.
I have a question before you move on, since I'm a noob on this interface. If I have a completed objective, can I click on it now or at the end of my turn?
No, you can do it now.
Yeah,
right,
you can
cool.
do it anytime.
Good. There we go. Take that.
I'm surprised you didn't just wait till it was obvious that you were going to win the game and just click.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I think that's one of the reasons they make it so you actually have to click on it.
So it doesn't automatically fill. I guess that makes sense.
I feel I'm like the underdog because you guys have already completed 2 each, and I'm just like la-di-da-di-da. Yeah. The game ends, for the viewers that don't know, when somebody completes 8 objectives, and I don't think that person will be me. But so speaking of viewers, hello viewers, we've enabled the Q&A feature for this G+ Hangout event thing. So if you have questions for talks about Firefly or Chris Happens or Mage Wars or any games that might be coming down the line from him or his company, feel free to ask questions.
I can't see them, so you guys will have to tell me what they are. I don't know where the chat is.
We don't have any yet, which is usually surprising, but I'm wondering if it's because we're doing this kind of earlier than we normally do. So yes, I'm not sure.
This is like a giant forest in the upper left. It's ridiculous.
And it's going to be bigger.
Look at that.
It's a little out of control, I'm not going to lie.
So I love this game. We've played this game. I mean, as you can tell, I have like the collector's edition with the big giant pieces and everything. And this is the game, in my opinion. This got my son, now about to be 9, but when it came out, we originally got it. This is the game I think got him thinking strategically about games, and this game is amazing to me. I love Antoine as it is. He's a great designer. He takes one simple thing and makes it fun.
Yeah.
But this game is something that I've seen like grandmothers and grandfathers walk into game stores and go, "Do you guys have the Panda game?" And it's like that's all they know it by, but they know it. And then it was on tabletop, and that blew up with tabletop, and it's just been phenomenal. But it's such a great game. I use this game as my gateway game now for bringing people into board games.
Yeah, this is one of the games that I use to explain to people the strategy of worker placement and like secret objectives, basically. Even though it's a weird worker placement because there's workers, but it's not more about who can get their own worker to be on the workers. It's who can control the movement of the workers.
Yeah, don't put your gardener on the panda. I mean, love your panda, but
no.
There is a question talks from a Joel Edie, I think it is.
He's a spy!
He would like to know about the new modular board for Mage Wars.
Oh, yeah. That thing's going to be awesome. So we're working on a thing called Mage Wars Battlegrounds is the name of it. And we're just going through right now and trying to finalize on the exact number of tiles that are going to be in there. But essentially what's going to happen is you're going to have 8x8 squares that have puzzle cuts that you can then make up your own arena for Mage Wars. Anyone who's not familiar with our game, it gets played across a 3x4 arena. So it's totally symmetrical. but there's been a lot of people that have asked us for the ability to either make the board a little bit bigger on one side or the other to make like a big enough space for 2v2 a little more comfortably. And then we've had people just say, hey, I want to do something crazy and like, you know, a T or a different, you know, L shape or something like that. So it's going to give people the ability to put together whatever they want. We actually have had, in my opinion, we've had the most fun where we took all the tiles and placed them in one gigantic corridor. And what we did was each mage had to start on opposite ends of the corridor, and after a certain number of turns, the piece that was furthest out on each end like broke off, and like everything in there was destroyed. Which, if you play Mage Wars, you know is kind of crazy because there's like conjurations that like get put in a zone and stay in a zone, so you're going to end up losing those if you have them in the back. But it provided just an amazingly cool and, in my opinion, a completely different reason and experience of playing Mage Wars, which is one of the things that we're working on, you know, over the course of next year. We've got this coming out with the modular board, which is going to give people a totally different way to play. We've got scenarios like Domination that's going to come out, which is going to be in the modular board set, the Domination scenario. We have other scenarios in the works, and then we've got co-op play coming next year with Archmage. So lots of stuff going on. I don't know how I sleep, really. Hey, I'm going to move the panda to a plot.
Rhiannon, somebody asked, is there a way to make the game board the focus of the video while we chat?
Well, if Tox would take his turn, but he was giving us a pretty thorough explanation, so I felt like we should at least give him the benefit of showing his shiny face.
Sorry. I will stop talking on video right now.
No, you're fine. So this is the thing. So we can make the board game the main focus of the video, but the problem is that when we do that, you lose the little thumbnails at the bottom, so you can't really tell who is talking necessarily. But I don't know, for 3 people, we could probably pull it off this episode. What do you think? You guys cool not, having our beautiful faces on the camera, on the screen?
Totally.
Well, I think, like, maybe when he's answering questions, I'll pull it down, maybe, and then that way, they can look at him, I guess.
I'm a bald dude with a goatee.
I was just about to make that joke, actually. I hear he's a bald dude with a goatee. Yeah.
Everybody has one in their gamer group.
Okay, what am I going to do?
Can you tell us about any other games that might be coming from Arcane Wonders?
Yeah, so we've got this one that I'm extremely excited about that we're working on right now called Sheriff of Nottingham. And there's a lot of different things that are in flux with it right now, but essentially it's going to be a bluffing negotiation game. The concept behind it is, the Honorable Prince John is coming to Nottingham, and we as players are merchants, and we're going to try and get our goods into the city. And each turn, someone's going to be able to be the Sheriff of Nottingham and have an opportunity to, quote-unquote, inspect the goods that people are bringing into the city. But if you wrongly accuse someone, you have to pay a penalty. And if you rightly accuse someone, you potentially have to, or potentially get to take some of their stuff. So there's a lot of, things like, hey, I'm going to declare that I'm bringing in 4 potatoes. And then all of a sudden, Tiffany's the sheriff, and she says, well, I don't really believe you. I think I'm going to take a look at your cards. And then you go, wait a minute, before you do, perhaps, dear sheriff, I could give you 5 gold to look in Rhiannon's cards and check her out and start to, barter and deal with the not-so-honorable sheriff. So it's going to be really fun. We're looking to have a demo available of that, hopefully at Gen Con to share with everybody. The big thing about that game, though, is what I'm really more excited about is it's going to be the first in our line of Dice Tower Essential games, which is we partnered with Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower, and they're going to be games that he's kind of put his stamp and seal of approval on, so to speak. We're going to have like our own custom logo for it. It's going to kind of combine our dragon and his Dice Tower and everything, which is going to be really awesome looking. But kind of bring the best of the 2 worlds there together and bring out some awesome games. So right now people know Arcane Wonders as the makers of Mage Wars, right? So this is going to kind of launch us into an area of being Arcane Wonders, not just Arcane Wonders, the makers of Mage Wars. So
yeah, that's probably, is that something that it's your turn, so maybe I'll hold off because you're so great at answering questions, but then it drags the game on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. Rhiannon, would you like to show the board to our beautiful viewers and maybe describe its wonderful accoutrement?
That's the board. So here's the forest, perhaps Sherwood Forest, if we would like to cross swords there. Don't cross the beams, but... So all these tiles get placed down based on whatever cockamamie reasoning we have to do so, and then we eat the bamboo, or not eat the bamboo because we all have our objectives. Which I have some. Okay, and you just want to try to complete them. And right now, Tox is winning, which is no good.
Is he winning?
He is winning. He has 4 done, and he has 18 points.
It's because he's got the giant panda. It
is a giant panda. Oh, I actually have a question. This is not at all about this game. But I heard recently to something, oh my god, where did my mouse go? Okay, there it is. That art is probably like the least likely thing to get you into a game these days. So what is the art like on this Sheriff of Nottingham Robin Hood game going to be like?
I can't say too much about it yet because we haven't finalized on that.
Gotcha.
But it's probably going to be epically awesome, yet somewhat minimalistic. So I've seen some of the stuff, and it's pretty cool looking. But we have a couple of different artists we're kind of looking at, and seeing all the different stuff and things like that. So we originally wanted the game to come out around Gen Con, and just unfortunately due to the multiple dynamics of this industry and moving parts that make a game, we're just shooting a demo available. So, but we're really big into spoiling stuff. So as soon as we have stuff, like, it'll be all over our website and all over our Facebook. So.
Gotcha.
All right, epically awesome and minimalist is like my favorite style, actually. So that's
cool.
That's move the panda. I'm moving.
Well, if you think about it, right? Like if you have cards that are potatoes, they can only be like so much, right? So
says you.
They're still going to be awesome potatoes.
What's the important thing?
Because we crush them up and make awesome sauce.
I'm at the point where I don't think there's any way I can come back from this panda apocalypse that is
That's not
happening.
The attitude of a winner. So
the bamboo beatdown.
I mean, then it's very clear that I'm not going to be the winner. Like, that's.
You're only about 6 moves out of it. You're very much like the Cleveland Browns. You only need an offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end to be good.
So we have Sherwood Forest, which is great, but I mean, not to give too much away, I'm not looking for green. If that's any, if that's any hint to what my cards currently are.
Wait for it. Are you jaded? Thank you. I'll be here all week.
We can kick you out of this. Like, there's
sure you're gonna do it right before.
Whoops! What happened? I don't know. Must be a technical glitch.
Hey, look, it's Jolene.
Oh man, this is not going well for me at all.
You just need to keep drawing cards until you get green cards.
At this point, yeah. Oh man. So. Oh, brain. No, I can't. Sorry, I'm upset about the panda currently. Right. Why did you guys? I had him where I wanted him.
Not you guys. Tox. We're supposed to be working together, Tiffany, so that he doesn't win, right? Right.
Right. Oh, okay. We're doing that. Okay.
That was the plan. No, we didn't discuss that.
I mean, I'm down for an alliance.
Bring it on.
Where should it rain?
So, after talks, after being involved with board gaming and the board gaming community for so long, now that you're part of an official, company and publisher and that kind of stuff, are you seeing a new side to the board gaming community that is just like how much of seeing that side of the board gaming community and stuff like that, is it changing your perspective on the other side as far as like reviews and that kind of stuff, or were you already aware of it, or that kind of?
Yeah, it's so first, I mean, the briefcase with millions of dollars is awesome. It's getting the keys to the Mercedes and the Bentley and amazing. No, it kind of it really is more validating some of the stuff that I suspected when I was on the other side of the table, so to speak. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm calling it. Like my day one on the job was getting on a plane and going to the Game Manufacturers Association trade show. So it was like baptism by fire, right? It's a jump in, you're ready to go. I had a very good, long, lengthy business career prior to this with Dell Computers, and I left there as actually chief of staff to a vice president of sales. So it was great time and taught me a ton about business. So I knew from a baseline business perspective how to operate with some things. But the game industry is very different than the technology industry. There's actually surprisingly some similarities, but there's a lot of things that I knew from being a reviewer and just being a hobbyist that I suspected and I thought. And now, being on this side of the table is kind of like, aha, it does work that way. Or, it's more validating things. There really hasn't been any, like, shocking aha moments, which I guess is good. But it's a weird industry. It's a fun industry, but it's definitely a lot of moving parts to get things done.
Okay, I'm gonna let you. I have another question on that, but I'm gonna let you take your turn. But and I'm also gonna take my hat off.
There you go.
There we go. I mean, I don't want to distract you too much from the game, because that would just be
I hear you loud.
But so on that point, is there anything that, I mean, what was one of the biggest things, if you don't mind telling us, that now that you're on the other side of the table, what was the biggest realization? I mean, you said you didn't have any big aha moments, but there was something. You said that there was some stuff that just clicked. Yeah. Do you mind sharing any of those?
A lot of things I think the things that clicked because I had relationships with a lot of people already. Honestly, probably the coolest thing, people always talk about how our hobby is a community, and we kind of talked about it before, and everyone's there to help everybody else out, which is awesome. But that happens on the other side as well. When I was in the tech sector, especially with tech, there are so many, got to keep this, got to lock this down, got to be secretive about this, got to, operate a certain way. And when we were talking earlier about me being a designer, I've always been the kind of person to be like, hey, look, this needs to be open, right? Like if I'm gonna progress my idea forward, I've got to share it with other people to get their opinions, get their input, their feedback. And I wasn't sure exactly how that would happen when I got to the other side of the table. But it's amazing. There's so many people who are from other companies like Cryptozoic and AEG and Upperdeck that are like, man, we want to partner with you. We want to work with you guys. There's so many different things that go on like that, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. So that was probably the coolest aha moment to me, was getting into conversations about how can our companies work together to just make things better for the industry, which is great because I think that's a win-win for everybody.
That sounds pretty cool. That I had no idea that on the other side of the table, which is a great phrase. I like that you came up with that.
I'll take it right now.
I had no idea. Is there? I mean, yeah, I guess board game companies work a lot together and stuff like that. So you mentioned the Mercedes and the $1 million briefcase. Also. So is the main offices for where you're based, or do you commute, or that kind of stuff.
You're looking at it. We are. It's surprisingly, people think we are a huge company, and I mean we are in terms of the scope of the game and the reach of the game, but we're very small. There's only like 6 of us. So
oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny. You have Brian, who's the designer of Mage Wars, Brian Pope, and he's our president and owner. You have myself, vice president of business development. We have a guy named Brian's in Dallas, by the way. I'm in Austin, in Texas, beautiful Texas, hook 'em horns. And then we've got Patrick Connor, who's our director of communications. He is in New York. And we have 2 guys in Indianapolis, or in the Indianapolis area, who one is Aaron Brosman, our creative director, and the other is John Rogers, our director of operations. And then we have Brian Alfia, who is our customer service director, who is freaking amazing, and everybody loves her, and everyone says great things about her, as do I. So
that's 6 people. Wow.
It's pretty amazing to think that number of people get this stuff out. So.
Oh yeah, because the Mage Wars set is it's so intense, and there's just so much that can go on, and the community that plays it, I know, is rather large. So I'm gonna history backtrack now a little bit to. I just realized there was some weird powder on the floor. I hope the dog didn't knock over anything bad.
Just in the cocaine, it's all right.
Yeah. I have a feeling it was her antibiotic pill this morning that she busted open. She does not like to take her pill, and she destroys it in interesting ways. But so traveling back in time to back when Crits Happen started.
Hang on. Do that one more time. Say traveling back in time one more time.
So traveling back in time. I didn't know we had sound effects on this show. That's pretty awesome.
What do you want?
But yeah, no. So back when you started Crits Happen, I mean, why did you start reviewing games? Did it just happen, or did you fall into it, or?
Good question. I started. Crits Happen was originally a website known as Knights of Steel.
I really think that should be like the name of a metal band or something like that. That's what I thought when I heard that first.
That's right.
It's a pretty good metal band, yeah.
We are the Knights of Steel. Thank you very much. Yeah.
That's right. We're out. Drop the mic. No, that's it. No, it was all. I jumped into the World of Warcraft miniatures game head first, and I just decided to create a blog site to talk about it, and it took off pretty well in the community. It unfortunately was a great game that died a horrible death, and I let it kind of sit for a little while, and then I just kind of said to myself one day, I was kind of looking at what Tom did, from the Dice Tower and some guys there, and I was like, I could do this. I'm like, I like talking about games, and figured it out. And as a guy in the game industry that I think is pretty cool once said, I just started stumbling from mistake to mistake. So, I'm sitting here talking, and I just realized that the woman who, 10 minutes ago was like, oh, I'm so out of it, I'm not going to win, has, 32 points now. There's your sound effect.
I did not obviously ask a hard enough question that you noticed that.
Yeah.
That's
really how it happened. It started off as dedicated to one game, shifted into multiples, and just I drive myself on the attitude of always be improving. So I just kind of always tried to get better and do something different. So.
You said on Happy Mitten that you created a business plan to treat it like it was a business. How closely do you follow that, or how often do you revisit to tweak it?
How closely? I would say probably 90% sticking to the plan. The big thing about the plan was around what I could commit to and what I could do, because I got 3 kids, so
yeah.
I wanted to have a life and continue to have a life, and
You're not that committed, then. Come on.
I know, you loser, family. No, I love what I do, and I do treat it as a business, but I don't consider it a business, I guess is the way to say it. I mean, I do operate it like a business, and I run it like a business, but if tomorrow it stops being fun, I'm dropping the mic and I'm out, right? Like that's kind of my attitude. I do it for fun, and I do it to have a good time. As you can tell, I can talk a lot, and I can talk about games a lot, and I figure it's just an outlet for me. So.
Yeah, it's a good outlet. And you do talk a lot, but you talk well, so it makes up for it.
I don't think I can catch you now, man. You're on fire.
You say that. You don't see what the objective I have is. I don't think I can.
You're good at metagaming. She totally has the winning one, and she's gonna be like, boop, got it, done. Not even gonna take her move. She's gonna end it right away.
Says the person that claims I can never lie.
This is true. This is true.
I can't lie. It's true.
It's true that she can never lie?
She's not good at it.
I was cursed when I was...
That's it. Rhiannon's the spy. I figured it out.
Yeah.
I am when I'm not, so, gotta mix it up.
Oh, you did ask me how often I tweak my business plan. I do that once a year. I sit down on the anniversary of Crits Happen, and I go through and look at it and kind of revamp it if I need to, and tweak it a little bit here and there. But I don't try the whole year, and I do that once a year. So
that's pretty interesting. So do you actually have a written business plan for Crits Happens?
Yep.
Oh wow. Is that so? I mean, you are one of the names in board game reviews.
Thank you.
For somebody, I'm asking for a friend, obviously, but for somebody who are a network,
I'm married. It's
somebody that's just starting out in the game reviewing scene. I mean, it's like people are jumping out of the woodwork right now.
Yeah. With
game reviewers and stuff like that, and there's definitely some people that have started popping up in the thing, but as one of the people that has obviously succeeded and is now a huge staple in the gaming community, what advice would you give to people starting out in this scene?
Don't play Takenoko with you two when you're getting interviewed. No. Starting out is really hard. There's just no two ways about it. Especially if you're going to be reviewing, and I'm kind of looking at it from two different facets, because there's people that do what I do and what you do with reviews and what Metzler does and Dice Tower and all those guys, and then there's people like the Board with Life guys and more entertaining, right? They're not into reviewing games. They have news. Chris goes through the news, and he's beardedly awesome and all that, but it's two different things. It's their entertainment. We're providing information while being entertaining, hopefully, and not boring. But it is really hard. It's as a community of a business and industry as it is, it can be cliquey at times. And the hardest thing to do when you're starting is, for me at least, it was trying. Oh, boom! Look at that. I don't know how I'm gonna win. Oh, fuck you.
It was really lucky. You guys just lined him right up, and I was like, I can move the panda anywhere. I'll put it where I can just nom down the hill.
I don't need any green. Here, I'll go do everything else. That's funny. That was good.
It wasn't on purpose.
So does it end automatically, or do we all get a turn?
Everybody gets a turn.
Yep.
Okay. Not that it's gonna matter, but. I feel like I have one that's done, but it won't let me complete it, so that's annoying.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. I don't really think there's anything else I can do much, really, so I'll just kind of do this. And, ooh, yay! Oh, I can't even finish that. That's funny. That's terrible! Terrible! All right.
I will say that in the middle of my last turn, it's like, you've broken the board. So
you were asking about, so getting started in the industry. So let me give you an example. So when I started in the industry, I told myself there's nobody that knows me. There's two people that knew me, but that was like it. And I was like, there's no one who's going to see me as a value. And this is the hardest thing for somebody as a reviewer to understand. It is not about reviewing games and getting people to give you free games. In fact, where I am right now for the last 6 months, I don't take games from publishers anymore. I actually have partnered with my local game stores, and we do reviews of games from them and do advertising for them as in conjunction with it. And I think that's a personally better way to do it because, for example, like if I'm with Arcane Wonders and I give you, Tiffany, Mage Wars, then you can review it. I trust that you'll objectively review it, and I have an issue with it. But there will always be somebody that will sit out there and say, well, she's probably getting a good review because they gave her the game and it's like $60 worth of stuff, and she feels obligated to say nice things about it.
They obviously don't know me. No.
Right. Well, I mean, truth be told, there are not a lot of negative or bad reviews of games in our industry. And I've actually thought about this, that I told one of my friends in my play group, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, but I told him it would be really cool if he just created his own video channel, and all it was like hating on games. It was just, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Because for as many great and good games as there are, there's some really bad games. And in my opinion, if I'm the designer and I make a bad game, I want to know about it. I want to know what is wrong with it so I can get better. I want to know what is bad about it that people don't like so I can change that next time I do something and just improve, right? But anyway, the whole point back what we were talking about, because I just went off on a massive left turn. As a new reviewer, I see this all the time. People will come up to us, Arcane Wonders. People will come up to other companies and they'll be like, "Hey, can I have free games? Can I have a game review? Can I have a game review?" I bought all my games when I started. I did not go up because I was no value to anybody. But I started buying my games. I started, taking games I owned, buying new games, doing reviews of those, which let me review games I was familiar with and comfortable with, and didn't have to feel like, oh my god, I got to learn this game really, fast so I can do a video on it in 2 weeks or whatever. And that started to get me more popular, get more people watching. Once you get to that level, once you can get through that first kind of brick wall, and make an impact where you can do a video and get like 1,000 views of a video, then you can go to a company and say, "Hey, Tiffany, you own Spooning Meeples Incorporated and you make these great games. I own a channel on YouTube and I do reviews. I get 6,000 subscribers and I get like 2,500 views per video. This is what it'll do for you." Then you become a value to the industry where they're like, "Hey, we want to use you." And that's really what it's about. As a reviewer, you're just a marketing channel for them. Now, they're hoping you give them a good, positive review, but the reality of the situation is, and I've said this now being on the other side of the table, as long as I make awesome games, everyone's going to give me an awesome review, right? So you got to be confident in the product you put out there. So as a new reviewer, just do your best to control your environment, build up your stockpile and your people coming in and watching you, and once you feel you're at a point where you're a value to a company that you would want to talk to, go talk to them, and they'll partner with you and they'll work with you as long as they see it as a value. So, and then come on Spooning Meeples and get your ass kicked by everyone else.
I didn't mean to. If that makes you feel
okay, if you didn't
plan the whole time,
something wrong. Never apologize for winning.
Kind of along the same lines, well, I guess I have two questions. One, do you think there's a minimum that people should play games? I know you said like 8, I think, is what you try to do. Yeah. But if I'm new and I'm eager and I'm excited and I'm just like pumping them out and I play them once, maybe twice, like, do you think you should disclose that you only play it once or twice? I mean... Yeah,
I mean, honestly, me personally, with as much as I've been doing and studying the industry, you can tell when you look at reviews of games, and like you said, Tiffany, there's a bunch. I mean, people are everywhere. You can tell who plays the game and who doesn't, especially if you've played the game. If you've played the game, whether or not you liked it or not, you can tell who's played the game enough to understand things.
Yeah.
And for me, as a fan, that puts me off completely. Like if I've played a game at my friend's house and then I see the reviewer talk about it and they're making mistakes or they say things wrong or they get idiosyncrasies of the game wrong. And I'm not talking about minutiae little things. I'm talking about big things, right?
Yeah.
It's something that'll put me off as a fan. And as somebody that is on the other side of the table now, I would probably not want to give my game to that reviewer to review. So yeah, I'm a big believer. You need to play enough for you to know it. For some people, that's 2 or 3 playthroughs, and that's great. For other people, it's a lot longer. The reason I take so many playthroughs for mine, like I try to do 8 to 10 on mine, because I've had games that I've played, and this is just me. I know how I play and what I play. If I play a game 2 or 3 times and don't like it, there is still a good chance that if I play it 3 or 4 or 5 more times, I'm going to find things to like out of it. Or because I have such a big play group, I have a huge play group, I get different opinions from different people that will start to spark the fires and get the gears turning, and I go, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, and then I start to pull it all together. So I've had, there was one game that I hated, like I absolutely hated the first time I played it. I was like ready to just be like, I'm throwing this in the garbage, I'm never playing it again. And then after I sat down with 2 or 3 people and played it a couple more times, I was like, oh my god, okay, I got it. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I got it. And it was amazing, and I ended up giving it a crit, and it was a lot of fun.
Interesting. So basically...
And no, I'm not telling you what that game is.
So basically, to try and summarize that massively awesome spiel. So basically just keep at it, try and find the network and try and find your viewer niche, basically, and just kind of build that up.
Well, it's part that and it's part sticking to a plan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who just shotgun and try and get things done, and it comes off as you're shotgunning. So, no, whatever. You did suburbia in IKEA. That was so epic.
Have you seen my latest one? People are very impressed with my latest one.
This is one of the reasons that I like you, because you look at things with a different slant. And that is it's what you need. I mean, look, anybody with a camera and a YouTube internet connection can sit down and point a camera at a game and go, you go here, you move there, you roll that, I like it, it's good. Anyone can do that stuff, right? But making
that was just basically your last episode, wasn't it?
It was, actually.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. But yeah, you got to make it different. You got to make it entertaining. And I remember it was actually funny because it was actually Donald from Bored with Life. Mm-hmm. I was talking with him, and I was in Dallas, and he goes, "Have you seen this chick, Tiffany?" And I'm like, "I've heard of her. I haven't seen her." He goes, "She's just the kind of crazy I can get into."
Oh God.
And I was like, all right.
Much.
With that kind of review, I had to go check it out, and then the first thing I see is like this refrigerator door opening, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. So yeah, you stick to the plan, right? Your plan is 1 degree off center, which is awesome, and it works.
Well, yeah, my basic plan is I made 2 promises when I started my YouTube channel. One is I would never review a game from my apartment, and number 2 was I would never put ads on my channel. So that's basically the baseline. But
all right, so I'm going to ask you a question. How come no ads on the channel?
Because I'm a big fan of YouTube, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and we don't have ads on Spooning Meeples, but I don't know if we don't have ads on Spooning Meeples because my anti-ad thing, or if it's just something we just unconsciously did. But I don't like ads on YouTube. I watch so many YouTube videos, and my favorite YouTubers are the ones that don't have ads, and they're very few and far between. And I know it's like a minor thing, and everybody has ads now and all this other stuff, but honestly, I'd rather, instead of having the annoying clicks and stuff like that and getting money just from like people having ads in their face, I'd much rather have anything that I get, for doing my stuff, more from the community directly. So it's one of the reasons I did a Patreon account, and that's one of the reasons eventually at some point, maybe potentially, I'm not promising anything, don't read into this too much, I might do a Kickstarter. So it basically just comes down to, I hate watching ads, so why would I make my viewers watch ads?
Very cool. Respectable.
I have a question.
Spooning,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Spooning Meeples, we do I think we do the same thing. Is I hate watching ads, and I'm very vocal about how I hate watching ads. So Spooning Meeples, we also kind of like, we don't need ads.
And cut to commercial.
But have you played the latest from Arcane Wonders, Mage Wars, the module? Yeah.
That's too funny.
Kyle, not to like segue away from that, but Kyle Hendricks, who's sad he cannot make it to the thing, did ask a question on Twitter. Which did you design around, the theme or the mechanics? And if it's the latter, why this theme? So I think that's related to the Firefly thing. So I guess he kind of missed that.
Actually, so hi Kyle. I think if I remember right, I owe Kyle a game of Mage Wars. He actually lives in my city.
Oh.
So we were just.
So wait. You're saying if anybody lives in your city, you'll give them a copy? Is that what I just heard?
No. I
have to play
a game. Like,
Okay. So anybody that lives in your city can play a game with you, is what you're saying?
Sure, I'd be down for playing. I go to all my local game stores, and if somebody wants to come play, I'm more than happy to go play. So, so the game was designed ahead of the license. So we did it all on mechanics first, and then we applied the license to it. So. Do you think that
the theme that was applied after it ties in nicely, or?
I do. I think so. The big.
It might be unfair to ask the designer of the game.
No, yeah. What do you like on the menu? I like everything. It's awesome. It's no. I one of the things that I used when I realized I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna be pitching this game, and have that like be a reality. The main thing that I used with people was that you could theoretically theme it to anything. Mm-hmm. The design and the mechanics of the game, like we had talked about earlier, it went from orcs and goblins to Marvel Legendary Firefly, which is a pretty big swath, right? It's kind of all over the place. But like we've talked about it since then, that like it could really become anything. And I think that's the reason that I ultimately went with Upper Deck, is that they have ideas and they have plans and they have some amazing licenses. So we'll see how it all kind of expands inside their universe. But I mean, you look at right now they've got Marvel, they've got Aliens, they're doing the Legendary Encounters, they've got Firefly now, which is going to be my game's going to be the first one in that set. Then they got Predator for Legendary going to be coming out. They've got the Crow from Legendary. I mean, it's just they've got some pretty wicked, awesome licenses that. I don't know where it'll go, so we'll see how it goes.
Second part to that, I guess, is how hard was it to get access to that license? And then third question, how does it feel to be printing money soon?
It was really cool. I just called up Nathan and said, "Yo, dude, can I make a game?" And he said, "Yeah, sure," and that was it. No.
Nate's a good guy,
Yeah, he's pretty nice.
No idea. Yeah, I have a funny interlude story on this. Nathan Fillion actually helped one of my best friends get married.
Oh.
And he has pictures to prove it, which is pretty amazing. They went and got his autograph, and in the process, he had worked it all out where he would distract his fiance or his girlfriend, and he'd turn around, he'd be on one knee with the ring, and it was amazing. And they got this great shot where like Nathan Fillion's like, it's really funny. So, no, I had nothing with the license. The license, I basically made the game, designed it within a parameter of what I knew they had a license for with Marvel. And then they called me going, "Hey, are you sitting down?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And I remember this keenly because I was in downtown Austin. I was at the W Hotel, which is right in downtown Austin. I was at an event for my old job at Dell, and my friend Jason, who runs Upper Deck, calls me. He's like, "Hey, I hope you're sitting down." I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Your game's no longer Legendary." Like, are you kidding? Like, I thought he was going to tell me like it's done, we're not making it, that's it. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, "What do you think about Firefly?" I like practically like jumped off the balcony I was standing on. I was like so excited about it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, there's some people who've kind of made that joke of somebody like sent me an email, with the whole take my money thing and everything, and joking about that, but like I said earlier, like, you know, being such a fan of the franchise and of the universe, I'm like, I want to make it so good and so right. I want to make it a game that I, as a Firefly fan, want to play. Like, not just as a guy wanting to design the universe. I would want to play this if I had nothing to do with it. So that's kind of my goal. So, and so far it's pretty good. So.
That's pretty awesome. I am super excited for the Firefly. You mentioned you're demoing. You're hoping to have demos at Gen Con. You mentioned that. Do you have any idea on when the release might be? I know it's going to be a really rough estimate, but just give us something to hope for.
I've been told we're shooting for the end of the year. I would hope it's obviously before Christmas. So we'll see. We still got a little bit of ways to go to kind of refine some things that we're including in the bed and things maybe in other things, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, I would hopefully be able to see people floating for a couple of hours over at the upper deck booth, you know, rolling some shiny dice and see how it works out.
Are the dice actually going to be shiny?
I don't know. The working title is actually Shiny Dice, so but that's not going to be the name of it, obviously. So
maybe it's getting in too much, but like, is there going to be Chinese cuss words at the bottom of like flavor text and cards?
There will be flavor text. I don't know. We'll see.
Just like learn Chinese with the Firefly dice game.
Yeah. You could play it with kids. I mean, like I said, I designed it originally to be, you know, a game for my son and I to really play and have fun with. And he was 6 when we started designing it, like 2 years ago. So, and he had a blast with it because it's symbols and, you know, part pressure luck, part set collection, and part awesomeness in the verse.
I'm really excited. Well, that. I think that's a good time to wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah,
we're at an hour and 10.
Kick my butt, I know. So.
I'm sorry. After the Resistance and how badly that went, I wanted to at least not lose. And if that meant beating you, I was okay with that, I guess.
You know what? I probably lose more than I win, purely because I don't care and I just want to have fun. Yeah, and as you saw in the whole Resistance thing, I'm much more of an agent of chaos when I play games than anything else. So.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks for playing Takenoko with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and if you ever need somebody to play test, you know, the Firefly dice game, Rhiannon and I are both really good playtesters. We give really good feedback. So.
You have to come to Austin and play Mage Wars first.
I can do that. I'll be there in November for BBG Con.
There you go. I'll be there too.
We can make that happen.
Sweet.
All right.
Maybe by then we'll have the actual games we can play.
Oh yeah. There we go. Oh hey, before we sign off, I guess we should do the call handles. So if for those who are watching, recording, or live or whatever, you can find Rhiannon and I at Spooning Meeples on Twitter, or individually. Rhiannon's is Rhiox, which is RHIOCHS.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Yes.
And my Twitter handle is, of course, the one Tire. And you can always find Scott online at Kurt's
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. Just list it out. Just go through the whole thing.
Okay, so let's see. You can do ArcaneWonders.com, MageWars.com, Facebook or Twitter /MageWars. You can do KurtTappen.com, and you can do @KurtTappen. And I think I'm in the discount rack at the back of the local CD store. So.
As the
Steel Knights. Knights of Steel.
Knights of Steel.
Unite Detroit!
All right. Well, there we go. So, until next time, goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.